Hey, Chris Sider here from Ex-Boyfriend Recovery, and today we are going to be talking about the biggest mistakes people make after the no contact rule. Now, one of the things that you may be wondering is if you even have a chance of getting your ex back. It's actually one of the most popular questions that I get on my website, on my podcast, and even on our YouTube channel. So what I've done to combat that question and give you an idea so that you're not wasting your time with your ex is actually put together a special quiz designed to help you understand if you have a chance or not of getting your ex back. So if you're interested in taking that quiz, it's really simple. If you're watching this on YouTube, all you have to do is simply look in the description link below the video. If you're listening to this on a podcast, just stop by our website and look for the quiz there. So here's what I've done. I've compiled a list of the 5 biggest mistakes that I see people making time and time again after the no contact rule. Now, before we dive in, I do want to preface this by saying that these aren't the typical lists or mistakes that you'll see if you do a Google search. These are actually based in reality. Me, my wife, and even our coaches do a lot of coaching of a lot of individuals. So every mistake that you see on this list has been committed by one of our coaching clients. And we have actually seen a lot of these mistakes in our own private Facebook group. So I want you to breathe a sigh of relief and not just expect this to be one of those lame 5 mistakes type videos. No, this is actually based in reality. Let's begin. Sign number 1, you're coming on too strong. We always recommend that the first thing you do when you're trying to get your ex back is some form of the no contact rule. You can stop by our website to learn more about what that is, but the quick crash course version is that you're ignoring your ex for a certain period of time, typically anywhere from 30 to 45 days. In that 30 to 45 day span, you tend to have a lot of anxiety build up. And then when it becomes time to actually start communicating with your ex again after that no contact rule, it's really easy to fall into the trap of rushing too fast, too soon. So let me give you a quick example. Last month, my wife told me a story of someone that she was coaching. This person had done a great job of getting through the no contact rule without breaking it. But they had so much anxiety built up about it that when it came time to actually start texting their ex, they just didn't know when to stop. They started and got a pretty positive response, but after they stopped getting positive responses, they sent 15 text messages without a positive response or without a response at all. That's too much, way too soon. Mistake number 2. Texting too little. So this is the opposite side of the spectrum. With mistake number 1, you have people who are texting or going too fast. With mistake number 2, you have a little bit of maybe some entitlement issues where you do a no contact rule and you think that doing that alone is going to be enough to have your ex get on their hands and knees and beg for you back. The reality is it doesn't really work that way. So sitting there and thinking, okay, they have to come to me isn't necessarily going to help you advance your situation. In fact, I've seen a lot of men and women come at it with this mentality only to fail miserably. And it's only when they fail miserably that they come back to me and say, help me. Well, I don't really want you to fall into that trap because you could lose at least a month's worth of attempts to try to get your ex back if you go down this route. So keep that in mind. Mistake number 3, fighting with your ex or bringing up past issues. I'm really big on the peak end rule. Now, if you don't know what the peak end rule is, it's basically a theory that when human beings remember experiences, they remember experiences based on 2 unique points. The peak of the experience, the best part, the most exciting part of the experience, and the end of the experience. Oftentimes when I'm talking with clients, I'm telling them constantly to try to emphasize the peak, the most exciting parts of the relationship. And yet, time and time again, people just cannot leave that end part alone. Typically speaking, the end of a relationship is not positive. It's very, very negative. It ends in a breakup, and many times things are said that aren't very nice. People have this need to want to get some type of closure or some type of explanation for why their ex said that certain thing. That's actually one of the biggest mistakes because all you're doing is forcing your ex to remember the end of the experience, when instead you could get them to remember the peak of the experience. Mistake number 4, showing too much emotion. You know, it's really interesting. I was on the phone with a client a few months ago and I was trying to explain a really kind of new concept I'm coming up with. The way I look at it, people are really good at one aspect of relationships. You have the science of relationships and the art of relationships. Now, the science of relationships involves things like following directions and coming up with game plans and charting things out and having a great text message sort of spread. The art of relationships focuses on more emotional things, saying I love you, saying I miss you. You get the picture. So on one hand, you have the people who are good at the science of getting the ex back, the logical people. These people tend to be good at following directions, but tend to suck at showing emotions. And then, of course, on the other side of the spectrum, you have the people who are good at showing emotions, the people who are good at the art of getting an ex back. Now, in my experience, people tend to be really good at one and really bad at the other. Now, what we're looking for is people to be really good at both. So sometimes I encounter people, and this is probably most of the people that I encounter, who are not very good at the science, but who are good at the art. They're good at the emotional aspect. In fact, they're so good that they start getting emotional way too fast. So instead of building up rapport, putting a proper foundation down so that you're guaranteed, well, I can't say 100% guaranteed, but you're likely to get a positive response or a positive reaction from your ex when you tell them something like I love you or I miss you, these people just rush right into that. Big mistake. Mistake number 5, they don't focus on themselves. I get it. You're trying to get your ex back. It makes sense that you would want to focus on things you can do to get your ex back. But actually, I found one of the biggest mistakes that I see clients and people who just buy our products or come to our website or even watch our YouTube videos make is they don't really focus on themselves at all. And in fact, when that happens, when they don't focus on themselves, and they put all the energy on the ex, something comes through there. The ex picks that up and you're not as attractive or appealing to them. Human beings tend to be interested in things that they can't have. It's the whole, you give a cookie to someone else and all of a sudden you see someone else with that cookie. What do you want? You want that cookie. That other person has that thing. The fear of loss. Something you don't have. You get the picture here. So really what happens is when you obsess about your ex too much, it comes through in all areas of your life, even if you don't think it will come through. And what happens then is your ex subconsciously can pick that up. Now I know it sounds weird, it sounds like I'm making up some sort of magic voodoo type thing here, but I'm not. There's a reason why I continually see people who simply give up on their ex, who say, I'm done with this, I'm through, I'm tired of putting all this effort into them. There's a reason I see those people getting their exes back more often than not. Why? It's because they've stopped obsessing about their ex. And when your ex starts to notice you're not obsessing about them because they can tell, you become more attractive to them. And that's really what we're going for here. The people who will continually fail to get their ex back are going to be the people who obsess so much that they're not able to cultivate their own personal lives. They put all of that energy into thinking, what is my ex doing? Is my ex with someone else? Oh my God, my ex is with someone else. Are they sleeping together? And you can see how that mentality just grows and grows and feeds on itself. And it's not healthy. Instead, what you should be doing is focusing on what new experiences you can have, what new things you can try, what new people you can meet. Doing those things, cultivating your personal life in that way, will make a gigantic difference to your overall chances. So here's my challenge to you. You've just watched and listened to me rant about the 5 biggest mistakes people continually make after the no contact rule. What I'd like for you to do is actually go to our website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com. Again, you can look in the description link of this YouTube video. click there and actually start reading some of the free content that we have there. It's designed to help you throughout this entire process, to help you avoid these mistakes and teach you the right type of things you should be engaging in. Now, you'll also notice that one thing that I am very proud of is the fact that when I write an article, when Jen writes an article, when any of my other coaches write an article, it's not one of those basic kind of boring articles you can find anywhere else. These are in-depth articles meant to help you. We also like to base all of our ideas, theories on some type of research, whether that's our own internal research, our own ideas backed up by scientific studies. We always put those in there. And I can tell you without a doubt, one of the best and easiest ways that you can get your X back is by putting the work in and actually coming to our website and actually reading what we have there. So I'll see you there.